This is Andi Purewal for ID Boxing, and I'm joined by Swedish heavyweight Otto Wallin over Zoom. Otto, firstly, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good myself. It's been a while since we've last had a chance to speak. What's the latest with you?
Not much. Just training here in New York. Staying in the gym and just trying to prepare for my next fight. I don't know where it is now, but hopefully it will be soon, and hopefully I get something big.
How frustrating of a chapter in his career has this been for you, Otto? Because ever since the Fury fight, I know you've been desperate for another big fight for yourself and for your career, and it just hasn't quite, kind of gotten over the line. How frustrating have you found this period?
Yeah, sometimes it has been frustrating. I had two good fights after the Fury fight with Kaufman in Brazil. Then I was going to fight Dillian Whyte in October last year. He pulled out last minute and went on to fight Fury, got knocked out there. And so after that, it's been a little bit, I had to take two stay busy fights. So it's a little bit frustrating, but, just got to keep working, keep going. And I think that something is gonna come for me.
How difficult is it for you to stay motivated when you have to take these, as you say, keep busy fights when you feel like you deserve more?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always training, so that's not a problem for me. But, to really be motivated for fights that, are going to be really one-sided, it's not the easiest. I feel like I come alive when I get the bigger fights and I share the ring with good fighters.
Now, looking at potential opponents for yourself, I've seen Dimitri Salita calling for a fight with Anthony Joshua. Now, I know that it's a fight which has been spoken about for yourself in the past. Some people suggested if there was a chance for AJ to have a little break in between the Usyk fights, then you'd have been a good fight for him because obviously Southpaw stance, more preparation. Talk to me about that. Have you had any conversations with Dimitri about that? Has your name been put forward to AJ's team?
Yeah, it has. They've been in touch. Dimitri and Eddie Hearn has talked about it. I don't know what the latest is now, but I know they've spoken before about it. And I think Dimitri was told that they were gonna wait for the Fury and Joshua negotiations. So I haven't got any update lately. But I would love that fight. That'd be really good for me, I think. And I know Joshua pretty well. He knows me, and that would be a good fight.
How deep did those talks go, as far as you're aware, Otto? Because the date was being bandied about was December 17th for AJ.
Yeah. I don't know really. I don't know. I pretty much told my team to give me updates when there's something concrete. So I don't really stay up on the day-to-day. I spoke to this guy, I spoke to that guy. I just like to keep my head in the right places and just wait for something that's real.
Otto, how confident are you that you'd be able to capitalize on a fight with Anthony Joshua, given the past two defeats to Alexander Usyk that he's just suffered? How confident are you if you could get that over the line, you could exploit him further?
I think I can. I think that, me and Joshua, we had two good fights in the amateurs where I lost decisions, but it was very close fights. And I feel like it could have gone either way, both fights. And after that, we sparred before he fought Charles Martin. And lately, I feel like I've gotten better, whereas I feel like he's lost some confidence and he hasn't really been the same lately, I feel. So I think that I have all the tools to beat him. And he knows that it would be a tough fight for him, I think, because we sparred before, we fought before. He knows I have a big heart, and I'm a skillful fighter, and I'm a southpaw also.
Otto, what do you remember from the sparring? Can you reflect on that for me?
Yeah, it was good. We spent some time in Essex, in London, and then we were in Sheffield. I was there for a good while. I was there for 7 weeks, I believe. So we had a lot of rounds. It must have been at least 150 rounds together. So we got a pretty good idea of each other.
The Charles Martin fight was obviously back in 2016. So it's 6 years on, but I'm sure you've kind of tracked his progression since. And when you look back on that, how much confidence from that can you take into a potential fight? What do you feel like since then he's maybe, as you said, you feel like maybe he's losing certain factors certain traits that maybe he's benefited from throughout his career. So what do you feel like he's lost since then?
Well, for sure, he's lost some confidence. And I don't know where that came from. It might have been a lot to do with the Andy Ruiz loss. Then he came back, beat Ruiz, but he really changed up his game. Fought Pulev after that. He knocked Pulev out, which was good. And then with Usyk, you know, first fight really looked like a sparring session where Joshua wasn't willing to take any risks. And you really need to do that to beat Usyk. Then second fight, I felt like Joshua did a little bit better. Was targeting the body and being more assertive in the ring. But I would say probably the confidence is the biggest issue for him. It feels like he cares a lot about what people think about him. And, you know, I feel like he got to get over that a little bit and just, you know, be true to himself. And when he fights, just go after it and don't care so much about what people think. But I think that he has a lot of pressure, and that it's probably hard for him to live with all that pressure, because, you know, he's been known as the champ, and, you know, now he has to adjust to not being that anymore. So might not be so easy.
Otto, how key of a factor do you feel being a southpaw would be if you were to match up with AJ?
It would probably be a little advantage, but now he's fought Usyk twice and prepared for him, so he's probably got a good idea now what southpaws are about. But at the same time, you know, every day I'm used to fighting people that are righties, and so when you fight a lefty, it's still a little bit different. But he probably has a good idea now. He's probably sparred a lot with southpaws, and he's fought Usyk. So
Otto, just with AJ, obviously there was talks previously about a potential fight with him and Tyson Fury to take place at the beginning of December. That's not going ahead now, but from kind of your perspective as an outsider looking in, what did you make of those talks and how it all fell apart?
Well, I mean, it's hard to trust anything that Fury says. I know that for a fact. I mean, Fury, one day he's retired, the next day he's not. The next day he's changing trainers. Next day he's gonna fight Joshua for free. Everybody's gonna come in for free in the arena, and then the next day he wants 500 million. So, you know, it's just hard to trust anything that he says. I think he likes to keep his name out there, and I don't know. I think he might have been sincere about wanting to fight Joshua. Probably good timing coming off of 2 losses. But I don't know what happened there. It's hard to know, and yeah, it's hard to trust anything that Fury says.
There's obviously a lot of talk at the minute about the fight, which seems most likely is one between Tyson Fury and Fury-Chisora, a trilogy bout, which I don't think many people had expected to see at this stages of their careers, or if at all. What would be your thoughts if Tyson was to opt to face Fury-Chisora next?
I think it's a non-competitive fight. I don't understand why he would take that fight. He already beat Chisora twice, stopped him one time. It was really one-sided. And I don't think Chisora has gotten that much better. I think that Fury has gotten better. So I don't know why he would take that fight. I like Chisora. He's a good fighter and a big name in the UK, but doesn't really make sense out of a sports perspective, I would say.
Given obviously how well you fared with Tyson, Otto, does that maybe make things a little bit more disheartening at all, knowing that you gave Tyson a tough night's work, but he's ended up going potentially to face somebody who many people will see him as a big favorite heading into?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what his thinking is. I like to not dwell on that too much with Fury, but I would love to get the chance to fight Fury again, and I think I deserved it with our first fight, to have a rematch. And you know, if it doesn't seem like he wants it, so it's not much I can do right now. I just have to keep winning my fights and climb the rankings to get into a mandatory position, I think.
After looking at a couple of fighters' names, which I'll put to you, obviously we just saw Joyce knock out Joseph Parker, and as you mentioned, Tyson Fury knocking Dillian Whyte out earlier this year, and you was at that fight. Would you still hold an interest in a potential fight with, say, Dillian, despite that defeat to Tyson, or say Joseph Parker, despite his knockout defeat to Joyce?
Yeah, I think I would like to fight both guys, especially Whyte, since what happened last time when he pulled out last minute when we were gonna fight. So I would love that fight. I think it's a perfect fight for me, and yeah, I'm up for it. And Parker too. I think it's a good fighter. He gave Joyce, pretty good fight. But yeah, I think both fights will be good for me.
Otto, what do you make as Joe Joyce up at heavyweight? How close is he to a world title fight of his own now? And just talks about his style, his relentlessness, the juggernaut as he's called.
Yeah, and I mean, he's a really big guy. He throws a lot of shots and just keep coming. I think that he must be very close to a title shot. He's beat Dubois, now he's beat Parker, he's beat other guys. So he's proving himself to be the real deal, and he's doing really well. And I think that he deserves a shot.
So this coming weekend as well, so we will see Deontay Wilder return to the ring against Wilder-Helenius. What do you expect to see in this fight?
I think that fight might be a good fight, actually. I think that Helenius might be a little bit underestimated, but he's a big puncher. He's a pretty good boxer. I've watched his fights for a long time, and he might not have the best chin, but so does Wilder. He doesn't have the best chin either. And we don't know how much those fights with Fury has taken out of Wilder. So that's going to be really interesting. But they sparred a lot before, so they probably know each other pretty well. And I have a feeling that Wilder wouldn't take the fight unless he knew that he was going to beat Helenius comfortably. But you can't underestimate Helenius. He has a lot of power, and he's a pretty good boxer. And he's a big guy, at least as tall as Wilder. So it's going to be interesting. I think that it could be a good fight.
What's your prediction for it?
Well, I'll probably pick Wilder to win, but I think that Helenius has a puncher's chance for sure.
And then just a final thing, I want to get your thoughts on a final couple of things, rather. Otto, obviously, Demetrius Alita looks after you. He looks after Claressa Shields as well. She's over here in the UK getting ready for her fight with Savannah Marshall. Just want to get your thoughts on what you're expecting in that one.
I think it's a great matchup. I know that Marshall has good power. Claressa I've seen live here, of course, and I think that Claressa is really good. I like Claressa's fighting style. She comes forward, she's aggressive, and I really like her. I think that Marshall has a puncher's chance, of course, but Claressa would be the favorite for me.
And then just a final topic before I let you go. Obviously, in the UK this weekend, we were due to see a big fight between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. That didn't go ahead due to an adverse finding in Conor Benn's VADA test. I just wanted to get your thoughts and your reaction to that when you heard the news.
It was disappointing. I was looking forward to the fight. I like Conor Benn, and I had been watching the clips on YouTube and everything to get an insight before the fight, and it seemed like Conor Benn was in a really good place, and I wasn't sure about Eubanks because he made some weird comments and everything, and then his father came out and said some stuff, but it was disappointing what happened. I think that I wouldn't want to judge Conor Benn just until the investigation is done, but I see no reason right now why something like that would be found in his system. So right now, it seems like he's made a big mistake and he will have to man up to it. I'm happy that they canceled the fight. I think it would have been a really bad thing for boxing if the fight would have gone on.
Obviously, drugs in boxing has been a huge topic and a huge talking point for years now. Otto obviously kind of still got his own right to reply, and I'm sure he will in due course. But depending on how it all plays out, what do you deem to be a fair kind of punishment to anybody who's caught? In Conor's case, there's reports of a potential 4-year ban if he is deemed to be guilty.
I think it should be like any other sport. I think track and field, there would easily be 2 to 4 years. So I think that's fair. And then if you come back and do it again, it should be even longer. Without real punishment, people just keep doing it. And the testing are not enough. The testing is very expensive, and we don't get tested enough. So I think when somebody gets caught, they need proper punishment, because boxing is a dangerous sport, and you can really hurt somebody and destroy the life of somebody if you know, if you go in the ring, you have certain advantages. You punch harder. You can punch like it's the first round, even in the 12th round. So I think that boxing should be harsh on it, and the promoters, they gotta stand up to it too. They can't just allow it happen and let fights continue anyways. You know, the investigation is not done with Conor Benn, but even if the B sample is not tested and the investigation is not done, even when they first find it, they have to cancel the fight. And it shouldn't be up to the fighters. I'm sure the fighters would love to fight anyways, because they're going to be making a lot of money and they've been training and everything. But I'm happy that it was taken out of their hands, because it shouldn't be up to the fighters, because they would probably fight anyways. But it would be a really bad message for boxing if the fight would have gone on.
Right, so I appreciate your time, and I will leave you now to enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for speaking to me in ID Boxing, and I will see you soon.
All right, Andy, thank you.